Sitting on the edge of my bed last Tuesday night, I pressed both feet flat on the floor, straightened my right leg until the knee locked, held it 5 seconds, and set it back down. Then the left. 20 repetitions. 5 minutes. That was it. Then I curled my toes against the floor. 10 seconds, release. 10 repetitions each foot. Then I got under the covers and slept. I am 83. And what I just described is the single habit that changed what happens to my legs between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Not a pill, not a compression sock, not a supplement I ordered from somewhere. A movement. 5 minutes at the edge of the bed. And the reason it works is something I want to explain carefully, because the mechanism is real, it is documented, and it is almost never connected to leg circulation in the conversations most people over 70 are having with their doctors. Not because the research does not exist, because a standard appointment does not leave room for it. Your doctor has 8 to 12 minutes. There's enough time to check your numbers, review your prescriptions, and get to the next patient. There is not enough time to sit down and explain what is happening in the veins and the small vessels of your legs while you lie still for 7 hours. And what 5 minutes of deliberate movement before you turn out the light can do about it. That explanation takes longer than 12 minutes, so it does not happen. And people go home thinking their circulation is just something that happens to them, something they are a passenger in, not something they can influence. I want to change that for you today. There are two separate things happening in your legs at night that this one movement addresses simultaneously. I'm going to explain both, because if you only understand one, you will not fully understand why this works, and if you do not understand why it works, you will not do it long enough to feel the difference. The first has to do with your blood sugar. Stay with me on this, even if circulation feels like the main issue, because these two things are not separate problems. They are the same problem at different stages. Chronically elevated blood sugar, not necessarily dangerously high, just persistently above where it should be, year after year, does something specific to the small blood vessels in your legs. The glucose molecules react with proteins inside your vessel walls through a process researchers call glycation. Over time, this generates compounds that scientists have identified as advanced glycation end products. They accumulate in the walls of your smallest blood vessels. They make those walls stiffer, less elastic, less able to expand and contract the way healthy vessels do. The channel through which blood moves narrows, flow slows, and the tissues at the far end of that flow, your feet, your calves, the muscles of your lower legs, receive less of what they need. Research published in Nature identified this glycation mechanism as a central driver of the vascular damage that accumulates in people with chronically high blood sugar. Researchers studying peripheral vascular disease in people with blood sugar issues have documented the same pattern consistently. The smallest, most peripheral vessels are the first to show the effects, and the legs, specifically the lower legs and feet, are the most exposed, because they are the furthest from the heart and dependent on the smallest vessels to complete the circulation circuit. This is why your legs feel heavy, why they ache at night when you are lying still, why the skin feels strange, why the temperature is wrong, why the color sometimes worries you. It is not just age. It is sugar working on your circulation at a structural level over a long period of time. And the people who were never told that connection, and most people are not told it clearly, spend years managing symptoms without ever understanding the mechanism underneath. The second thing happening overnight is mechanical, and this is the part that surprised me most when I understood it, because it is so simple and so ignored. Your legs do not move blood back toward your heart on their own. They need help. The heart pumps blood out, but the return journey from the capillaries in your feet, up through the veins of your calves and thighs, back to the chest, that requires muscle contraction. Every time the muscles of your legs squeeze, they compress the veins running through them. The valves in those veins only open in one direction, upward, so each contraction is a push, a pump. Physiologists have a name for this, the venous muscle pump. And the largest single contributor to that pump in your legs is not the calf. It is the quadriceps, the muscle group running across the front of your thigh. When you walk, your quadriceps fires thousands of times. Every step pushes blood up. When you sit in a chair for 4 hours watching television or lie in bed for 7 hours, the pump stops. Blood moves slowly. It pools slightly in the lower legs. The tissues that depend on that circulation, already compromised by years of glycation in the small vessels, get even less than they need during the hours when the body is doing its most critical repair work. The move I do before bed is designed to restart that pump right before the long still period begins. Seated leg extensions, both legs alternating 20 repetitions each. The quadriceps fires against gravity, the venous pump activates. Blood that was sitting in the lower leg moves. The toe curls at the end. 10 seconds of full contraction, all the small muscles of the foot address the very end of the circulation circuit, the part that is hardest for blood to reach and easiest for it to stall. Now, if your feet burn at night, or go numb, or feel cold, no matter how many socks you wear, please don't ignore it. I almost did, and I'm 80 years old. For years I told myself it was just age, the tingling, the heaviness in my legs climbing the stairs. But it wasn't age. It was my blood sugar quietly damaging the nerves and the circulation in my legs, and almost nobody warned me in time. If you let it keep going, those little signals turn into something you can't undo. I wasn't willing to lose my feet or my independence. So I started doing one thing every single day to help support healthy blood sugar and protect my legs. I'll show you exactly what in this video. And if you want the simple support I personally use, there's a free presentation linked in the description below. I want to explain the second mechanism, the one connected to blood sugar, because the movement does not just pump blood, it clears glucose. Inside your muscle cells, there's a protein called GLUT4. It is a transporter. Its job is to pull glucose out of your bloodstream and carry it into the muscle tissue, where it can be burned or stored. In a younger body with healthy insulin sensitivity, insulin triggers GLUT4 constantly. The system is responsive. But here is what the research established that changes everything. Muscle contraction triggers GLUT4 independently, without insulin, without the pancreas, without anything except the mechanical act of the muscle working. Research on this transporter has shown that skeletal muscle accounts for the vast majority of glucose uptake that occurs during physical activity, and that even low-intensity contraction is sufficient to open this independent pathway. The quadriceps is the largest muscle group in the body. When it contracts, the GLUT4 response is larger than what you would get from the calf alone. 20 slow leg extensions before bed, the quadriceps working deliberately against gravity, that is not just a venous pump. It is a glucose clearance event. The blood sugar that would otherwise circulate through your small vessels all night, continuing to glycate the walls, continuing to slow the flow, it moves into muscle tissue instead. Your doctor prescribes medication that works on your liver. That is real and important, but your medication does not specifically address the glucose sitting in your bloodstream at 10:30 at night, an hour after dinner, when you are sitting still and the only thing that could move it is your own muscle. The leg extension does what the medication was never designed to reach. They work on different systems. They are not competing. They complete each other. This is the part that surprises physicians when they encounter it in the research, not because it is hidden, but because the translation from physiology lab to clinical conversation almost never happens in a standard appointment. The study exists, the mechanism is documented. The application, 5 minutes at the edge of the bed before sleep, is just not something anyone has time to prescribe. I want to tell you about a man named Raymond, 81 years old, former electrician from outside of Memphis, managing blood sugar for nearly 20 years, careful with his diet, never missed a dose of anything his doctor prescribed. And still, he described his legs at night as feeling like they were filled with wet concrete. Heavy, slow to warm up, aching across the shins by 11 p.m. He had tried compression socks. They helped some. He had been told to walk more. He did, when his knees allowed it. But by evening, after a full day, his knees were not cooperative. What he had never been told was that he did not need to walk to activate the venous pump or the GLUT4 pathway. He needed to contract the muscle, sitting down, before bed. When Raymond added seated leg extensions and toe curls to his routine, 5 minutes every night before getting under the covers, he described a change over the following weeks that he did not have language for at first. The concrete feeling was not gone, but it was less dense. His feet felt warmer when he got into bed. He was not waking at 2 a.m. with the same urgency in his legs. He told me, "I kept waiting for something hard, This was not hard. It was just something I had never been shown. Raymond's situation illustrates a pattern I have observed more times than I can count. The information is available. The mechanism is real. The gap is in the translation, from what research has established to what the person sitting in the exam room is actually told. And that gap costs people years of discomfort they did not have to have. If you made it this far, you already understand more about your own legs than most people your age ever will. That matters. You know now that the burning, the numbness, the cold feet, they trace back to one thing: blood sugar slowly working against your nerves and circulation. And you know the goal isn't a miracle. It's protecting your ability to stand, to walk, to stay independent. That's why, alongside everything I showed you today, I use a simple daily support to help keep my blood sugar in a healthy range, so my legs keep carrying me where I want to go. I put the free presentation in the description below. Go watch it. And as always, keep working with your doctor. This supports your routine. It doesn't replace it. I am not telling you this to replace anything your doctor has prescribed. Your medication matters. Your doctor's oversight matters. What I am telling you is that the bedtime habit I described tonight, the leg extensions, the toe curls, 5 minutes at the edge of the bed, addresses a specific overnight window that your current treatment was not designed to reach. And it works best as part of a system, not in isolation. The movement clears the glucose and restarts the venous pump. But what you ate for dinner affects how much glucose is waiting to be cleared. When you anchor your evening meal with protein first, eggs, fish, cottage cheese, any quality protein before the starch arrives on the plate, your gut releases a hormone called GLP-1 that slows how fast glucose enters your bloodstream from the meal. The blood sugar rise is more gradual. By the time you are doing your leg extensions, the starting load is already lower. The habit and the meal work as a system. Magnesium plays a role too, and it is worth asking your doctor to check your levels. Research suggests that a meaningful portion of people managing blood sugar issues have lower magnesium than optimal, and magnesium is directly involved in how blood vessels relax and dilate. A vessel wall that cannot relax properly is a narrower channel. 1 ounce of dark chocolate, 70% cacao or higher, contains approximately 64 milligrams of magnesium according to the USDA food data. 1 square after dinner. Real food, not a supplement. It is a small thing that supports the vascular environment that the leg extensions are trying to help. And the room where you sleep matters more than most people realize. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that even 1 night of poor sleep, waking in the middle of the night, lying restless, falling back under after an hour, increases insulin resistance measurably the next day. Your body needs to drop its core temperature to reach the deep sleep stage where the most important metabolic restoration happens. A bedroom above 70 degrees works against that. I keep mine at 66. It sounds like a small detail. Over the course of a week, it is not small at all. The system is 5 minutes of movement, a protein-anchored dinner, 1 square of dark chocolate, and a cool bedroom. None of it requires a prescription. None of it costs more than what you are probably already spending on food. And each piece supports the others in a way that the research on blood sugar and peripheral circulation consistently points toward. Think about what independence actually looks like in the years ahead. Not an abstract idea. Think about the specific things. Walking to the end of the street without your legs feeling like they belong to someone else. Getting up from a chair without checking first if anyone is watching. Sleeping through the night and waking up with your legs still yours. The people who keep those things are not lucky. They are people who understood what their body needed in the quiet hours and gave it. They made a decision at the edge of the bed in the dark before the light went out. 4 minutes. 5 minutes. Something deliberate. Something built on a mechanism, not a wish. That is what Raymond chose. That is what I chose at 83. And it is available to you tonight. If you are ready to take the next step, to go deeper into the overnight system, to understand why your morning blood sugar numbers behave the way they do, and how to build the specific protocol around the window between midnight and 6 a.m., that is exactly what I put together in the guide linked below this video. It walks through the full overnight picture, the cortisol curve, the liver's glucose behavior during sleep, and the step-by-step evening routine that extends everything I showed you today. The link is in the description. Before you go, drop something in the comments, your age and one word for how your legs feel most evenings. Just that. Heavy, cold, tight, burning, whatever word fits. I read every comment, and I want to know where you are starting because this is a conversation I have been having for 30 years, and you are not the first person to describe what you are feeling, and you do not have to stay there. Your legs are still yours. Let's treat them that way.